It's called the Hugo Feed Mill and Hardware Store. Okay. So anyhow, yeah, we're going to figure out what's going on. We're going to produce a lot more of this, and we're going to do more testing. We want to really, this is preliminary testing. Okay, so then initially they hired me as a microbiology professor, and I'd read that the ancient Mayans, cultures that lived in South America, used to grind up chili peppers and also chili pepper leaves, and they would treat hundreds of different human illnesses. So somebody in 1996, a pharmacist, said, I'm going to go to the grocery store and get one of each type of pepper and test whether they have what's called antimicrobial properties. It means they prevent the growth of bacteria, or they can kill bacteria. Okay? Some bacteria are good, they live inside of our intestines, right? That's good for us. They live in our bodies and our skin, all over the place. But some are bad, like salmonella, bad E. coli. Anyhow, they found that peppers, definitely they had some antimicrobial properties. Here we can see, for example, Staphylococcus aureus. Has anyone ever heard of MRSA, MRSA? Yes, what do you know about MRSA? What's that? Yeah, why is it such a problem? Yeah. Yes, it is resistant to all modern day antibiotics. Okay? We are going to face a very scary century, folks. Pfizer, Bayer, the main three companies that used to produce antibiotics have all now, the board of directors decided there's no profits in antibiotics. Use them very sparingly, use them maybe once. There's no profit margin versus a pill you force someone to take every day, little blue pills, little orange pills. So they now have cut all of their R&D divisions to develop new antibiotics. And now we have bugs that are resistant to everything that we have in our arsenal. So part of what my interest is let's look back at what nature provided us with and find these magic bullets in our peppers that maybe we can start to treat human diseases that we have no longer any options to treat. So this is showing that it actually kills Staphylococcus aureus, very similar to ciprofloxacin, modern day antibiotic. Here we see Helicobacter pylori. It causes stomach ulcers. Chili peppers don't cause ulcers, by the way, that's a myth. But it can kill them. So my lab, we wrote a big review paper all about the current literature on antimicrobial properties of chili peppers. So we took those 100 varieties I brought with me, we tested them against salmonella. So in here we're seeing that if it's blue, it's killing salmonella. If it's pink, it's not. And so we see, yes, we have some that definitely are able to kill salmonella, some more so than others. It doesn't have to be a hot pepper is what we find. Some of the mild peppers also have these antimicrobial properties. Listeria. Anybody heard about listeria recently? You guys like ice cream? There's outbreaks. Blue bonnet ice cream were called in the last 2 weeks from listeria. Okay. So we're looking, testing against listeria. We find blue, look for blue here. We're finding magic bullets against killing listeria. We now are looking at a yeast, okay? Yeast cause spoilage in our foods. We want to find the varieties that we can add to our foods. I'm working with large worldwide food companies now. They want to now clean up their labels. We don't want to see 25 chemicals listed in our ingredients any longer. How many people like chemicals in your food? No, that's why you go to Paradigm Gardens, right? Yes? It's a great question, and I don't know the answer to it yet. Somebody asked that too. We just tested them, we picked them, we froze them, we tested them. But yes, after you cook them, I don't know. But we're going to now test these chili peppers in organic salad dressings. We're going to test them in pickled foods, meat products, a number of things to make them safer, more natural, more organically by using what nature provided to us. Okay, so growing your own peppers in the Midwest. All right, well, if you're going to start with seeds, you're already too late. You'll not get any peppers on those plants if you're going to buy seeds today. Ideally, you want to start those seedlings in either February or March. The hotter the type of chili pepper, the earlier you need to start the seeds. The crazy hot ones, start them in February, folks. Other ones you can get away with doing in March, maybe beginning April. Otherwise, you just aren't going to have a lot of luck. So the first time I ever grew some of these scorching hot ones, habanero ones, I didn't have the best success. I didn't get that many fruits on them. The plants looked a little weird, and I said, well, that just must be the way they grow in these northern climates. So the big magical thing that I'm going to tell you is I did some studying on it, and I started to look at, well, what nutrients do you need? So every single nutrient you go out there, you can buy fertilizer. They got organic ones. They got liquid form, or you got dry forms, you got soils with fertilizers in them all over here. Okay? It's going to give you some information as to what the nutrients are in those. So you see, what are the main elements that we need to feed plants? All these nutrients are going to have 3 numbers on them. What are those 3 elements? NPK. What's the N? Nitrogen. What's the P? What's the K? Well, P was phosphorus. K is potassium. Okay. But can plants only live on that and water? And carbon dioxide? Do. They need other things, these trace elements. So this is where I looked at. This is from there's a crop breeding book that was published by Boslin and DeWitt. And I looked at this and I said, oh, okay, here's the normal range that you're looking for. Okay, and they have a number of products out there. The Paradigm guys are really experts at this. Okay. Plants go through different stages. You want vegetative fertilizers, and then you want to switch to flowering. Okay? And they'll teach you why are the numbers different. I was using, in container gardening, I was doing mostly nutrient-less soil. Otherwise, you can buy a lot of their different products that have mycorrhizae in them and stuff like this. We did a study where we actually added mycorrhizae to the plants, and they did grow faster and more rapid. I'll tell you that. We did that last summer. So you got a lot of options out there. I used All Organic Advanced Nutrients. That's my line that I used when I did container gardening. Well, I switched to growing in the soil, and now we use time-release fertilizers. Okay. I was using the one that was called Sustain. I don't even know if you guys have that here. I guess on the no side. That's just what Pepper Steve gave me. But they have options for it. You guys have time-release fertilizers, stuff like that for soil. Yep. You can do liquid, but when you grow, I'll talk about it. I grew over 4,000 plants last year. It's a little expensive to do liquid fertilizers. Okay, the most interesting thing that struck out to me, we always think about NPK, NPK, NPK. Calcium. Normal range, 1.5% to 3.5. That's more than phosphorus. Normally, we don't want to add calcium to our plants, right? Like hard water has a lot of calcium in it. That's the white stuff, right? That builds on the top of your plants, or on the soil. Usually calcium, I always thought about it when I learned about plants before peppers. Calcium is an element that has a 2+ on it. Well, it binds to the roots of plants and it competes with other elements that have a 2+, like magnesium or like phosphorus, potassium. So typically we always thought we don't want calcium to feed our plants. Well, with peppers, this is not the case, particularly the hotter types. So if you've ever grown peppers and you get leaves that have these bubbly appearances to them, that means your plant is starved of calcium. Okay? You give them a calcium supplement, the leaves will smooth out. They will grow to 2 to 3 times the size. You'll get 3 to 5 times the amount of peppers on your plants. Paradigm has multiple options for you here today. I recommend you buy some calcium. You got Caliper, all organic, really chalky white stuff. What is it, like Roundup seashells or something like that? Yeah. Pretty much. You also have CalMag.
Yeah, CalMag.
What are the calcium options you got?
We'll have some dry amendments, and azomite I know we'll have some for sure. A lot of our nutrients, some of the time-released ones will have elevated levels of calcium already in them as well.
Yeah.
So there's a couple options for sure.
Some people grind up eggshells and add them.
Tons.
You can do it. But I'm going to highly recommend it. You want to get more fruits off your plants this year, pick up some calcium before you leave the door. Let's see, in terms of growing recommendations, I grow them in 5-gallon planters. That's not a 5-gallon bucket you buy at Menards. It's actually it's a different size. You can talk to the guys here at the shop. That's going to be a good size for growing a So calcium, other nutrients. You know, so many people I give plants to. They're like, I only got 1 pepper. The plant never grew. Well, what'd you do? I put it in this pot I had that I grew something else in the prior year. There's no nutrients left. Plants need nutrients. You want to give them some extra nutrients every couple of weeks. That's how you're going to get the biggest plant. That's how you're going to get the most peppers. Okay, so I do have a website. I no longer sell anything through this website right now. It's called Midwest Chili Peppers. Right now it's an informational resource for you. I have at least 300 of these varieties where I have a picture of the peppers, pictures of the plant, and I'm writing descriptions. I'm on a mission to start cataloging the biodiversity of chili peppers around the world and to tell you more about them and then possibly where you can get them. So the next phase, I moved to Minnesota. This work got a little crazy. So I'm actually trying to turn this into the mecca worldwide of chili peppers, right here, the whole state. I'm fighting a little bit of resistance from the Scandinavian heritage. Everybody's like, I can't handle any heat. Anyhow, that's gonna change. So I started there as a professor. I started growing them all in my lab, because again, I studied bad bacteria, salmonella. We can't grow our plants in that lab, because we might get salmonella on them, and then we want to eat the peppers. So I said, well, I'm gonna grow the plants in my office. I figured out very quickly I could get an entire greenhouse for less than $100 a month, including all of the materials I need. Planters, soils, fertilizers, everything. $100 a month, it's ridiculous. I then figured out for